We will be discussing estimating values using cumulative frequency. It is possible to find further summary statistics about group data from a cumulative frequency graph. And so, this is what we're going to see in this tutorial. The summary statistics such as the median, the IQR, within the both upper and lower quartiles that are going to be found and extracted from a cumulative frequency graph. This is what we're going to basically be working on in this tutorial. Remember that cumulative frequency graphs are drawn from grouped data and are plotted at the upper end of the class interval. And so, at the upper end of each class interval is what we're going to have, the data. And this data is plotted on this graph. And of course, it is extracted from the grouped data that has been extracted first during studies. So the exercise says the graph below shows the cumulative frequency of the ages of 30 members of a bingo club. And so we have this bingo club that contains 30 members. And so we have their ages. As you can see here in this graph, there are the ages of these members and their total is 30. You can see their range and you can find the jump of 10 years by scale. But if you take a closer look right here at the corner, you can find this annotation right here. This is basically found because we didn't directly start from 0 to 10 and then 10 to 20. We had a small jump from 0 to 20 since 20 was the minimum age. And so we use this small annotation since it's different from the rest of the scale, which has a jump of 10. As for the vertical axis, you have this scale of 5 right here. There you go. We have this graph representing the number of the members among the age groups. And you can see how they're plotted and then finally connected. Here is where we're starting at the age of 20. And that is basically the minimum age of the bingo club. And so, as we go further through the years, you have the numbers fluctuating. So the exercise says we need to find an estimate of the median. And the exercise is basically asking for an estimate since, of course, we're not going to have an accurate answer, but an estimate is enough for this question. Now, for the median, what you're going to have to do is that you're going to have to find the position. And the position is basically the maximum divided by 2. For the cumulative frequency, the highest is at 30. And so we needed to find the median. And that is 30 divided by 2, which is basically 15th. So at the 15th position is where we find the median. We go to the vertical axis, you draw a horizontal line, find the point of intersection, and then drop down, and that is where we find it, right here between 40 and 50, which is basically 45. So the median is 45 years old. And so this would be the whole solution. Now for the estimate of the IQR, basically to find the IQR, it is basically Q3 minus Q1. So IQR is equal to Q3 minus Q1. We do not have Q1, so this is the first thing that we're going to have to find, and then Q3. Let's go ahead and find these two. As for the position of the first quartile, Q1, it would be the total 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5. So at the 7.5th position, which lies right here at the vertical axis between 5 and 10, we go horizontally and then look for the point of intersection where we drop downwards, where we meet the x-axis, right here in the middle between 30 and 40, and that would be 35. And so the estimate of Q1 is equivalent to 35 years old. So that would be Q1. Now we have it, let's go and find Q3. As for the position of Q3, it is basically 3/4 multiplied by the total cumulative frequency. and that is 30. And so 3/4 multiplied by 30 is 90/4, which is 22.5th position. And that lies here on the vertical axis between 20 and 25. The same procedure is where we look for the point of intersection and drop downwards right here, lying between 50 and 60. That would be 55. And so the estimate of Q3 is equivalent to 55. Now what's left off is to find the IQR, and that would be Q3, which is 55, minus Q1, which is 35, and the answer would be 20. So the estimate of the IQR is equivalent to 20. A quick recap of what we have done is that we found first Q1 using the total cumulative frequency, and then we found Q3, and then we found their difference, which is the IQR.